Hi beautiful Exoticals, welcome back to my channel. This is the Black Exotical. So most of you have probably heard by now surrounding Diddy and Cassie and other victims who have been speaking up. And I just wanted to provide some commentary on why it's important to decenter men and also to decenter the Black community. Now, I know that this is a sensitive topic regarding divesting and leaving the Black community, but honestly, as a Black exotical, it is essential for your well-being to separate yourself permanently from any situation that will cause you harm. As an exotical, you are different, you are valuable, and everyone is valuable. Don't get me wrong, but as an exotical, you are different, and we know that the Black community has a track record of trying to suppress and keep Black women and beautiful Black women behind. So it is essential to separate yourself from the community. And as it relates to Diddy, men like Diddy are more common than you think. Diddy's not the first man to essay and trying to find words that won't get me flagged, but hurt women. And unfortunately, in the Black community, he will not be the last. And before anyone says, well, it's not just the Black community that has this problem, well, the Black community makes up a small, I think it's just 13% of the population in the United States. But the stats that show harm against women are much more disproportionate compared to other communities who have a larger population. So this disproportion is definitely a red flag, and an alarm that Black exoticals need to wake up to and open their eyes to. So if you look on the screen here, I'm not going to read everything here because there are some words that will get flagged, but 1 in 4 Black girls will be SA'd before the age of 18, and 1 in 5 Black women are survivors of R-word. This is horrific. 1 in 5 is 25%, 1 in 4 is 25%, and 1 in 5 is 20%. That is way, way too high for a population that only accounts for 13% of the total population. Okay, and these things often occur at the hands of family members, and other people family friends and other people who are known to the survivor. And this harmful behavior is promoted and glorified through pop culture and cultural traditions. There are many songs that talk about having access to women against their will, causing harm towards women, and it's Black men who are singing these songs and putting out this rhetoric. Cultural traditions such as the belief that Black women are to protect Black men at all costs, or saying things like, you don't want a good Black man to end up in jail because of racism, quote unquote, are all talking points that are used to silence and keep women in line, and kind of to just turn a blind eye to those who are on the receiving end of abuse. It's important to detach yourself and divest from the Black community and Black culture, because music that talks about harming women, harming your community, is so unnecessary and is vile. No other community makes music about degrading their women the way that the Black community does. Country music doesn't do it. Indian music doesn't do it. No other culture talks about it. K-pop, every other culture They glorify their women and they center their women, and they tell the world that, look, there's no one better than my woman. The Black community is the only community that doesn't do this. So another reason to step away from the community. Also imperative for Black women, Black Exoticals specifically, to step away from the Black community, because Black women tend to enable this toxic behavior. I mentioned previously the whole, you don't want to get a good Black man in trouble. But also there are Black women who keep their children around known predators. There are so many examples of this. There's that Hotep leader, Brother Polite, who was proven to be a predator. He was, I'm not sure where they are in the case, but he was charged for harming young girls. And on a smaller scale, I'm sure there are many of you who are listening who know of a family member or a friend whose mother was aware of assault that was happening to her children, or who got a new boyfriend and brought him into the home, but he had a less than favorable background, and she still willingly allowed her children to be around someone like that. Calling Black girls fast if she reports that she has been violated. So saying things like, oh, well, that only happened to you because, she's fast. That girl's always been fast. That girl has always likes to show off her body and things like that. Basically trying to place the blame on this young girl. And we all know that there is, you can't even use character, how the girl presents, how she dresses anymore as a valid talking point to justify assault, because these abusers will even assault women, disabled women who are, incapacitated in their beds, if they have access to do so. There are many women, as I've said before, who have also just flat out been accused of lying. Their mother, their auntie, whoever in the community, church ladies will say, oh no, that didn't happen. Brother so-and-so could never do that. Your uncle could never do that. Further gaslighting the victim and even telling them to forgive their abuser. Okay, so this behavior that you see with Diddy and with other celebrities like him, it's nothing new, and unfortunately it's not going anywhere as long as Blackistan is still around. Look at Carisha, and if you just take a look on my screen, there's some graphic content there, so just take a moment to read what's on the screen. But this is typical enabling mammy behavior. Carisha, if she knows good and well who Diddy is. If you are in the industry and you are around the movers and shakers, you know more than what the common man knows. And if the general public knows this info about Diddy, you can only imagine what she knows that the rest of us doesn't know. And she still thought that it was acceptable to make a statement to this young lady, Gina, just because she was upset that she had competition. Imagine fighting over a man who didn't even see fit to make you his one and only. He made it blatantly clear that he has other women, and instead of you saying, you know what, I want to choose better for myself, you go and you fight the girl and you say things like this. She's basically telling this young lady that she could have also gotten her essayed or forced to do things against her will, if that hasn't happened already. And she told the world. And Carisha has young children. I don't know how many she has, maybe one or two, but she has a child. So for her to even be around someone like this is a huge, huge red flag. Okay, so Exoticals, please get away from the Black community. Okay, do not go to parties where there are celebrities like Diddy or celebrities that look like him. It's just not in your best interest to participate in that type of environment. Don't listen to talking points that try to fearmonger and tell you that non-black men, especially white men, are the true villains, and that they are the ones to look out for, and that they are the ones who are dangerous. Because if you look at the data, all you have to do is a quick Google search, and statistics from government sources will come up to prove that that is not correct. That the biggest threat to black women is the black community. Okay, using those talking points is an isolation tactic that abusers and their supporters use to keep you stuck and powerless. And it starts in the mind. You think in the mind like, oh no, especially if you're not, you don't have a you haven't been exposed to other types of cultures. You know, we all have a fear of the unknown. And so abusers and their supporters will play up on this to try to keep you subjected and to keep them in power. You also need to unlearn the belief that having any man is better than no man. Okay, this is a common belief that exists in the black community. There are songs about it. You know, Shantae Moore's Shantae Has a Man is a prime example of this. Okay, having a man or having any man is not an achievement in life. It is not the be all end all. It shouldn't be the only thing that you aspire to achieve. Okay, in 2024, you have access to so many other things, especially if you have the privilege of living in a Western country. You don't need to limit yourself to just, I want to have a man. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be coupled with a man if that's your desire, but you should be raising your standards to above the bare minimum. You need to be raising your standards to something that will help you thrive and grow. All right, so decentering men means that you cultivate other areas of your life, such as, you know, working on hobbies, learning new skills, working on your career, building relationships with your family and friends. Okay, and then by extension, you will attract better options in life. You won't have to settle for abusers like Diddy. When you make having a man your whole identity, just like Carisha's doing right now, it reeks of desperation and will only attract bottom shelf men like Diddy. And I know that there's people going to be listening and saying, oh, Diddy's not a bottom shelf man because he has money. Well, guess what? A man with money can also be bottom tier. If you are constantly angry and violent, and you have certain behaviors, toxic, angry behaviors that have been going on for decades, that means that you have a lot of trauma and issues to unpack and work on. And that makes you bottom tier if you refuse to work on these things and you continue to harm others and perpetuate violence. I mean, the man put his hands on his mom, the woman that birthed him. So if that's not bottom tier, I don't know what is. And lastly, I just want to end with saying, you know, connect with those who have demonstrated that they have your best interests at heart. And that can be anyone from any race, any community. It doesn't have to be the black community. There's so much more to life than just your community. If you are a young girl listening and you're in high school or in college, you know, look and see if you can move away from your community for college. Go to another state, go to another country. Especially if you have good grades, you can get scholarships abroad. If you're already, you know, studying in your hometown and you can't move, do study abroad. Look for grants, go to your guidance counselor or your academic advisor at your school and ask them, hey, are there any supports for me to study abroad? Go and see the world, go and see how other people live. If you're afraid, go start off by visiting other states and just see how other people live there. Who knows, maybe you can get an internship or a job upon graduation in another state that you would have never imagined is better. Try to stay away from large metropolitan cities like New York City, Chicago, Atlanta, Baltimore. Like, these are known hotspots that are not the safest for Black women and Black exoticals. Learn how to be stealth. Learn how to practice the art of being stealth. If you don't know what that means simply just learning the art of being private. Learning how to keep things to yourself. You don't need to post everything on social media, and you don't need to tell your friends and family everything, because a lot of those people, they're only your family because of blood relations, and a lot of those friends that you think are your friends are not. There are so many examples of women being harmed, Black women being harmed by their so-called friends because of jealousy. I think it was like a year and a half ago, we learned about what happened to Shanquella Robinson, who was a well-known entrepreneur who met her demise in Mexico because of haters. Okay? Have healthy boundaries. Learn how to say no. No more. You don't need to save your community. You don't need to save your family. Learn, if it's not in your best interest, you do not benefit from anything, or that person simply would never do it for you. Learn how to say no and stay strong on your boundaries. And being private, being stealth, also is a way to maintain healthy boundaries, because people cannot harm what they don't know. Anyway, that's my thought on the Diddy saga. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.